Welcome to Taco Talk, and I'm Juan,
And I'm Jose.
and this is
Taco
wait,
Talk.
uh,
We
Taco.
kind of we butchered that. We butchered it.
Yeah, we butchered that
Take it
hard.
from the
We have better
top.
episodes. Well, we got our first guest star here. His the fabulous Joshua.
Hi.
So goddamn cute.
We should
Um,
we should add like the air
the air
horns.
horns.
Yeah, well, we should add that in.
So you know the chick that was gonna draw your icons and shit,
Yes.
dude. She's just flat out ignoring me now. Like I don't know what I did, but she's just not responding to me worth shit.
Well, without saying any names, I'm just gonna say maybe that person that remember when you're talking to that person,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, and like they were, they got mad.
I
And they probably talked and said stay away from that person. You know what I
That's
mean?
what I was thinking. You know what? We'll talk about this after the thing. Just remind me. But yeah, yeah. But okay, getting back on track. Josh, Josh here. I'm gonna call him Mommy because that's his nickname.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
so I met this guy on League of Legends, and I've just enjoyed his company. So he's gonna be our first guest star because why the fuck not? Talk about
Because
a
I'm
couple
freaking
things.
amazing.
Damn right. He's probably gonna be on a couple episodes because, like he just said, he's fucking amazing. So
You
So
best believe, girl. You best believe.
so let's get it right into it. So Bob, oh, I'm gonna say Bob, Josh, the fabulous Joshua. We you have a political view that's not very. We tend to not get into politics here, but we've been kind of like going against that like every episode. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's true.
we're like, I want to stay away from politics, and then we just start talking about like an hour conversation about politics. So
Yeah,
your politics differ from the norm, and there's some people out there that think that gay people don't have a mind of their own, and that only gay people will only like support democratic policies, and that's not the case with you, is it, Joshua?
No, it's not. It's not really the case for me. I don't know. It just I grew up around a Republican family, so it just kind of made sense that way. But also, it's just some of the things I've been hearing around, just like gays and supporting this and supporting that just really didn't make a whole lot of sense. So, I don't know.
Okay.
well, the thing why I think that most gays do not are not Republican is to me is because most Republicans are they believe in God and like the Bible, and most of them are kind of like not Southern, but a lot of them have more of like that ideal of like God, and in the Bible it does say gay shit isn't allowed,
Hmm.
so it might be because of that, but
I don't want to say that because I feel like just the nature of the Democratic Party feels more inclusive, and gays being having the history that the gay people have had, they want to feel included. And so I feel like the Republican Party didn't really focus their efforts on gay people. And I feel like the Democrats kind of took that opportunity from the Republicans kind of thing, and that's what they're catering more towards. And so I feel like maybe that's why, the gay people are more democratic than they are Republican, just because of they were included in their whole, propaganda and campaigning and stuff like that. So it just,
Hmm.
I don't know, it just seems kind of natural that gay people would be inclined to be democratic than anything else.
I think that's very insightful.
wow, that really opened our eyes. Um, so
And we cannot possibly be paying him to do this because, well, one, we're not smart enough to think of that shit, and then two, He makes way more than both of our salaries combined, so
Yeah,
we couldn't afford him.
so
Yeah, I'm classy, bitch. Sometimes.
Oh
But
shit.
yeah, I don't know. I think that a lot. I mean, there's just a lot of campaigning and uh, I don't really know what like a word is for like advertisement, but like a
Marketing.
lot of yeah, like marketing towards gay people as a Democratic Party in general, like, oh, just saying like one sentence about, oh, I'm gonna legalize, you know, gay marriage and I think that everyone should have rights and everyone should have this, just kind of naturally to gay people who have been secluded from society, now that the societic, in quotations, party is trying to be like, well, everyone should be included in everything and everyone should have this and that and the other thing, really appeals to a lot of gay people.
Hmm.
So, I don't know. It just seems really weird to me. But it also makes sense in a way, you know what I mean?
Right, right, and yeah, and it makes total sense to say like, if you're, everybody could come in and be a part of this, and
Mhm.
and that's good. But then it gets to that extreme level where it's like,
Yeah.
to me, it's like the extreme level will be equality of outcome instead of equality of just opportunity. Because I think everyone
Mhm.
has equality of opportunity. You just don't gotta be an idiot, and the opportunity is there. But
Yeah.
the outcome is completely up to the person or the individual.
Mhm. Well, like it just depends really on uh as a person. It's like, of course there's going to be more people who are successful and this, that, and the other thing compared to just anyone in general, depending on, of course education has impact on that. If you're more educated, then of course you're going to make smarter decisions and know how to make the smart decisions and stuff like that. So it's just really weird um how it works, so it's just really interesting to see how society in general views just anyone really, about like people of color, gay people, of course, immigrants, stuff like that. And it's just really really weird to see how it's all playing out.
Right, right,
Yeah.
and I think like just branching off that thought, I think people, and I mean I'm guilty of doing it too, but like I think it's probably the conditioning of society as well as among other factors that we just tend to lump people in categories, and like some people when like at least group thought is like when you're in like when you lump people into categories, if you do something out of the norm then you're weird, then you want to like either attack them, run away, or just ignore them. You know what I mean? And that it's kind of sad. You can't just treat people like human beings anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I also think that it's because of just how politics are operating, which is really
Mm.
funny because you see these two main groups, of course. You see the Republicans and the Democrats.
Mhm.
And, of course, the Democrats right now are all about people. They're all about, like, gay people should get married. They should have the same rights as, you know, as, uh, as straight people, and immigrants should have the same rights as blah, 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 whatever. And then the Republicans are like, they're nationalistic. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They don't really care. I wouldn't say they don't care as much. Um, I don't want to say that they don't care as people as a whole, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
they're more focused on how America should focus on Americans and not immigrants and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So it's just really interesting to see how, like, democratic, or I should say mainly supported Democratic news outlets, focus on, what Trump's doing wrong, Trump this, Trump that, and it's just like any other president, they have their um, criticisms and stuff like that, and their, you know, uh, I don't want to say threats, but like uh, non-advocates. I don't know what the other word is for non-advocates right now. It's kind of late, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they're trying to push their, what they are as a party, because of course, you're not gonna diss out your major um supporter financially. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And a lot of those supporters of, like, honestly, I don't really watch the news, so I don't really know who supports, like, who's more Democratic than Republican. So, but you're not gonna diss your boss. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So of course they're gonna focus on whatever their boss likes, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Right, and it's the Jews that are the main people, right?
Did you say the Jews?
Well, the Jews. Well, it's like you ever hear the joke like the Jews run the media,
Hmm.
and for the most part, that's true. Like the owner, of, like CNN, the CEO, the top guy, he's Jewish. It's like no
Mm-hmm.
coincidence, and
So you're saying
um,
if I become Jewish, I can run the world?
no, because the higher up Jews already run it, so you got a long way to climb, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll become a super Jew, all right?
Super Jew. Oh shit! I want to see how
I
that
already
looks
have
like.
yarmulkes and everything.
All right, it's a super
Right?
Jew with a yarmulke.
Well, no, I have like 3 yarmulkes.
But it's like most of the media is run by like if you look it up, I haven't done too much. I haven't. When was the last time I? Well, I looked this up a while ago, and if you look it up, it's like all like most of the people in media are like somehow or another way connected to
Mm.
um like the people that are in government, like some like a person like that's like a senator in one state will have like a niece that works at like CNN or something like that, and it's all intertwined and stuff, or they
Mm-hmm.
have close friends, and then so when they got that pool kind of like if you notice in when Obama was president, they didn't really run too many negative any kind of news article or news story on Obama, even though he supposedly had like what did he said after leaving, he's like he had a crisis free or something like I'm verbatim, it's not verbatim, but he had like a scandal free, that's the word he used, scandal free presidency, when no, he had a lot of scandals, but it's just that the news outlets didn't cover it, and that's because well they were connected and they were in his pocket.
Yeah.
And you can say the same thing for Trump with Fox News, but even then, like every other news station is like putting all this negative shit. Everything you hear about Trump is, oh look what Trump did again, this and that. Like he like since the beginning of the presidency, since he got nominated, he was going through all that shit. And they were just trying to stop him, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
Democrats were surprised and started crying and all this shit when they found out he was gonna be the next president, because hey, you didn't see like everybody, America was tired of that shit.
See, this is my thing though, is that the Democrats are bitching way too much, and I just think they should let him run his course, because he's been, people have been saying he's gonna be, what is it called, when he gets kicked out of office?
Oh,
Oh,
what's
impeached?
yeah.
Impeached. Yeah, people are saying he's gonna be impeached, and if he doesn't, I mean, he's probably not gonna be president in 2020. So they should just let it happen and let him do his presidency, and if he doesn't badly, he's done it badly. Just let him be and let him do whatever he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
won't, like they won't. They're just they keep on talking about it, and I'm just like, let it be, because it. I mean, it doesn't. I don't know how to put this. Yes, he said some stupid shit, but the thing is if they just let him, like say this stupid shit, continue doing stupid shit, and then just let him run his course. He's not going to be president next time the election rolls around, and he's not going to get the second term, or he's going to be impeached, and it's just going to solve the problems. But they just keep on bitching about it.
Right.
Yeah, but I also think it's about, about how they just don't like a non-politician in Washington. They it's probably because, they had such a success. Okay. They had a president win based off of, like inclusiveness, and he was, of course, his heritage was, African American. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't even know what I was just gonna say.
It's a little late.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. I don't even remember now, honestly. What were we talking about?
Oh, you're saying his heritage is African American, and that they had a president that was so like in the pocket.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, I ran out of soda. No, but seriously though, they basically their whole campaign for 8 or 2 whole terms, successfully getting Obama into office was based on, well, I wouldn't say based on, but like it had a significant impact that he was black, and
definitely,
and he was all about the Obamacare and, just care for people in general and giving people this,
like,
that, and the other thing.
You said this earlier today, where higher income people are usually Republicans, and what I think Obama tried to do with Obamacare and all this stuff, he tried to focus on lower income people that are more likely to be Democrats, and that's why he wasn't really famous among the Democrats, or I mean the Republicans, and he didn't really get good favor with them, is because he wasn't focusing on them. He wasn't focusing on overall America. He was focusing on immigrants and lower people on the like paid scale, or so.
Yeah, I think that as a whole, I really don't think that is an issue of Obama. Like, of course he's gonna try and, go along what his party wants, because that's his main support. How else is he gonna get voted into office? You know what I mean? And then what's really funny is that, well, I wouldn't say funny, but interesting is that how, like you said, how I said earlier, that a lot of higher income people are typically Republican, and lower people are Democrats. People who have lower income are Democratic, because they want, of course, you want free health care, free, free whatever you're gonna be getting from
yourself.
Yeah, for you, you're getting for the state. So it's just really funny, because it's like, oh well, I don't have life insurance, or I don't have car insurance, or something along those lines. And it's like, I'm not going to say we Republicans as a whole. I'm going to just say people who are well off already have that. So what the hell is the Democratic Party going to give us as a person, as a citizen? You know what I mean? Well, you're just going to use my, taxes to fund someone else's, health insurance that, that I already have. How is this going to benefit me? You know what I mean? As a citizen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just really interesting to see how Democrats are like, oh, give me all this, free stuff. Well, who's paying for it? Not, the Democratic person who's, of a lower income. You know what I mean? Because how are they going to pay for their own insurance they can't even, pay for?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just like, well,
it's not like Bernie Sanders is gonna give you one of his houses.
Yeah, it's like, what's really funny is that some of my friends they're really democratic. But what's really funny is that their parents don't even make close to 150,000 a year combined. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So that is just like, oh, free college, free this and stuff. Well, who's going to pay for it? Not you. So you don't care.
Yeah.
So it's just really funny to see how that works. And it's just like a lot of people want free this, free that, and everything, which is, which should be nice, but realistically, how is it going to happen?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because like people who have higher incomes pay more taxes. Like let's say, business owners, they make, just say in income they make $100 million, and in taxes they have to pay 20 million. You know what I mean? So they only have 80 million dollars to spend and invest in other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Right.
with people who make, you know, I don't know, it's like 16,000, 20, 30,000, they only pay about like, four. I want to say like $4,000 to $10,000 in taxes. That is it. Well, of course I'm using
Spitballing.
the biggest uh um extremes.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
just like, of course it sounds completely different, but like like 2,000 of $16,000 is not a lot compared to 20 million to 100 million. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's just like, because you're still going to get $14,000. That's, you're still getting more than, you know 80% of your income. Whereas for, super high end, CEOs and stuff are, just getting about, just about 80% of their actual income they would get, compared to, um, something who would get more percentage of that. You know what I mean? So it's really just high income people are paying a lot. And of
Right.
course it makes sense because, it's a percentage, and the more money you have, the more you gotta pay in taxes and stuff like that. Makes sense because governments need to run from something,
Hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just,
See, and that's like my thing with like Democrats is I feel like they're focusing too much on the people, and Republicans focus too much on the government, which is there's
mm-hmm,
no really between, but like there's no between them, because it's either that you focus on the people to the point where you know the government's infected, or you focus too much on the government where the people are infected or
mm-hmm.
effected, not infected. But it's I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, well, right now it's just because of the two heavy extremes.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? We had someone who was in presidency for 8 years, focusing on humans' rights and free healthcare. Basically, that was his main, really two things that he did.
Hmm.
And then you have someone who's now focused on business
Yeah.
and, you know, how not to fuck up, America's economy as a whole. Like, even though the American economy is relatively one of the strongest in the world right now,
Hmm.
even though it's not, comparable to some countries, just because that's just how it is right now, kind of thing. I'm not saying like America's economy is the best in the world.
Hmm.
Of course not. We're not the best at everything. It's very arrogant to say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas, for sure, we are not the most educated people, because look at what the fuck's going on right now. You know what I mean? All these people crying about, rights and this, that, and the other thing, which, being offended by, just ridiculous stuff. You know, so it's just,
Did you just assume my gender?
yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's just stuff like that. It's, you know, and it makes sense from a logical perspective. You know, how nowadays, you know, it's more of about like, you know, the gays getting marriage equality and, uh, well, I don't want to say just that, but, but, you know, it's just about, you know,
Things like that.
acceptance as just acceptance, period. I feel like society now is just accepting, like, oh, you know, you identify as a toilet.
Yeah, they're
That's
accepting. Yeah, like I agree with you. They're accepting way too much for the point where it's pissing me off. They're accepting
hmm
where you can be whatever the fuck you want and there's no repercussions. You can like you just said. Oh, you want to be a toilet? Go ahead. That is so fucking retarded and dumb how we're doing that. No, you
hmm
can't be a fucking toilet because that's not biologically true. You just can't be whatever the fuck you want. And when somebody says no, I don't agree with that, you bitch the fuck out and you can get them fired or this and that. It is just completely stupid how they want to run any of this. It. There's a point where you shouldn't judge people, and then there's a point where you should judge people.
It's not even about judgmentalism, I would say. It's more about um how should I put this? It's more about um how the younger generations accept and view things and act as act as a
People.
uniform generation, you know what I mean? How they are okay with gay people because they grew up with, you know, the gays in the closets, you know, gay best friends and stuff like that. And then, you know, you have these people who are like, you know, oh, well, I think I'm trans, or, you know, I'm a woman in a man's body, or I'm a man's in a woman's body. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. You know, like, it
Hmm.
doesn't really affect you as a person, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because how the fuck would it?
Well,
You know what I
see,
mean?
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Continue.
Oh, no, no, no. Go ahead.
Like, if you want to have a different gender, go ahead. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
affect me. But again, there's been places in Canada where people have lost their jobs and their businesses because they didn't put down other as like when they asked for somebody's gender, they only had male and female, and they didn't put down other. And there's been places and times where people have gotten fired or lost their businesses because they didn't have that option, which is just completely fucking retarded. If you have a dick, you're a male. If you have a female, you have a pussy. If you like, that's just how it should be. Like if
Unless
you
you're
were a chick
Caitlyn
and you have a
Jenner.
dick now, you are a male or you're a man. You're not some
Mm-hmm.
other shit. If you have a pussy, you are a female or a chick. Like you can't say, "Well, I'm an attack helicopter." Bullshit. You have a pussy. What are you talking about?
Identify as Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, well, it's just really weird because I feel that I really don't know what's going on and what is allowing, like, you know, stuff like that. I'm not saying that, you know, identifying as like, you know, as, you know, a woman to be a man or a man to be a woman isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying, like, why is everyone getting so offended nowadays? It's like no one has any spines anymore, which is
That's very true.
so, it is just so aggravating. And, you know, okay, granted I'm gay. I've been through some shit, okay? Like I'm not saying like, oh well, you know, I'm gay and I just have the best life and everyone accepts me. No. Okay, that's real life here. And
Hmm.
you guys know this, I'm from California, which is a hella democratic state.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's
it's just
really
like
democratic.
I grew up in, you know, what seems to be this, oh, everything's fine, we're democratic, we love everyone, and everyone, should just love each other, and all this free stuff as a,
Yeah.
as a state, and this, that, and the other thing, and it's great, which is fine. It's like, as a democratic, historical state, I haven't really had a whole lot of issues, I guess, compared to gay people in like Utah, where it's a little bit more
Yeah.
oppressed and suppressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, like, you know, the Mormons kind of have begun to open up more to the gays, just because they were getting a lot of hate from it in like when they were because so in 2018 a lot more people started coming out in Utah. There was just an explosion of more gay people in like places I lived that I moved away from. There's been more lesbians starting to come out. There's just been a bigger growth of just not being straight, and
I like
you
your
know
choice of words: explosion and growth.
yeah, and then it kind of the Mormon Church was like completely against it. They were saying shit against it. Um, and it was like they were saying shit against it, but then they're starting now to open up to it, and then they're starting to accept more gay people into their church and telling the members of the church to start talk like just to start accepting gay people more. And for your answer, yes.
Oh,
Mommy, yes. It's but
Explosion.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's my balls still hurt.
okay.
Oh,
We're cutting that out, right? No, just kidding.
keeping that in. That's views right there. But I guess I would say it's a matter of what's reality and what's nonfiction or fiction. Because I mean, when it comes down to it, like, yeah, I mean, sometimes like kids want to dress up as girls if they're boys, or girls want to dress up as boys and play with boy toys, or boys want to play with
Yeah, and
girl
that's
toys.
perfectly fine. Like
Yeah.
as a child, I played with female toys a lot of times. Of course, I had sometimes I had Barbie dolls in a doll house, and I loved to play with my Ken dolls and Barbie dolls and whatever. But I also
Hmm.
fucking loved Power Rangers and
Oh, I love Power
Transformers.
Rangers.
You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean? Like, my parents were fine with it, and they were, they're we went to church every like Sunday. And as a kid, I was like, this is fine, whatever. I'm just hearing a bunch of talk, and we're singing at the end. Like, why are we like? I just didn't understand the whole reason for you know
Hmm.
Church.
for church. Like, I just, as a kid, I didn't really get it. I'm like, why are we singing? Who are we singing about again? And I never really listened to um you know
What they
the
were saying.
the teachers, because we really went to like separate classrooms kind of thing.
What kind of church was it though?
It was a Christian's church.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was like the kindergartners and stuff like that would be in their own little group, and then like the first and second graders would be in their own group, and third, fourth, and so on and so on. And then the adults had their mass, their typical
Mhm.
mass and stuff. And I just really never realized what we're singing about or what we're doing, kind of thing. I wasn't really interested, which is, it's not saying that I'm not Christian. I'd say I'm more spiritualistic, but
Are you so you're not religious right now? You're
mm, not
spirit.
really,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, it does kind of make sense because, which is really funny because the Bible doesn't really say anything about gay people.
I mean, they just say man shall not sleep with another man.
Lie
Yeah,
with.
and that's really about it. And
Mhm.
it's really, I don't know, it just seems really weird how God would create man. And of course he's omnipotent, whatever.
Hmm.
He would know what would happen. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
See,
saying?
like,
As like he would understand his own design.
yeah.
And so for him to write something like that just seems just kind of uh counterproductive, and what's the word I'm looking for? Um I forget the word, but when you say something and then you do the exact opposite,
Hypocrite.
hypocrite. Hello, Josh.
Hypocritical.
What are you doing? Yeah, hypocritical. And it just it's just really weird.
See, I always thought that when they would always
Mhm.
bring me to church or thinking about it, I'm not really churchy
Mhm.
and I'm not really religious, but I was always thinking like they always like he always said he like God created them in like your image and they created you
Mhm.
this way and because of that. But then you have all these people saying, that they're like, they're gay, or there's like, they're a dude stuck in a woman's body or they're, a man, I mean a woman stuck in a man's body.
Mhm.
But to me I'm like,
I've been
why would
stuck in a
you make
woman's
them
body
like that?
before.
Yeah. Why would you make someone or something that is basically you, just not a powerful you know what I mean?
Exactly,
And
because
do that.
then
It literally makes zero sense.
yeah,
So that's what makes me to believe that when the Catholic Church was empowered during the Renaissance and
medieval era.
that kind of age, is that of course if you are higher than the state, like if you had such substantial amount of power, you were basically like the ruler of the world.
Mhm.
What you said was law,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
And it was
And
accepted
that's what the church did.
everywhere.
They just like the church in the medieval era, they just had a complete monopoly over everybody on what they did.
Mhm.
Is because
Mhm.
when the Pope called for the Crusades, nobody questioned it. They just said, "Why
Mhm.
the fuck not?" And then they
Mhm.
just went and did it. The Knights of the Templar, the churches, they have committed so many like sinister shit in their history that it's hilarious and it's just absolutely like crazy of what they've done in their past and it's really like mind-blowing.
Yeah, and well, that also leads to the Reformation and the Enlightenment era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because whoever controls the books, whoever controls like education, which was what the
Mhm.
Knights of the Templar,
Hmm.
the Catholic Church.
Like
They,
again,
they
I
they were the only ones that could read the books that
yeah,
were in Latin,
exactly.
which were translated from Greek and Hebrew.
And then when
And
Martin, what was the guy name? He was like
yeah, you got
Martin
it.
King.
Martin Luther.
Martin Luther. He, he changed the books all into like English and different languages, and then everybody realized, hey, my pastor or my pope or whatever told me that it says this in the Bible, but there's nothing in the Bible that ever said that.
Mhm.
So everybody was mad at the church for doing that, and just it was horrible because the original books were only in Latin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Hebrew and then Greek, and
yeah,
then
Mhm.
and then they were translated to Latin, and then they made it unavailable to the public to read it. It's like, oh, just go to the
Mhm.
church. But what does it say about the? Oh, just go to your priest,
hmm,
and he'll translate it for you. Because if you read them, like you're not holy enough to read them.
yeah,
Yeah.
But when like the Bible doesn't teach it, the Bible teaches that you should question this book and seek the truth for yourself. The truth shall
yeah,
set you free. That's what it teaches you, exactly, and it shows as far going back a little bit to what you guys were talking about. Like I never got the shit either. Like I would think like they would be teaching me like I went to Catholic church and they would be teaching like, hey, thou shalt not make a false image or worship idols, and then we got these statues of like Mary and Joseph and the thing, and I was thinking like at 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever, going to Sunday school, like why are we doing it, like praying to these like the God? Why are we like giving like these statues? Aren't we not supposed to worship false images? Like,
Mhm.
what the hell? I feel like I'm worshiping a false image of Mary. This stone isn't Mary, or this stone isn't Jesus.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then, but like you gotta go to the that the world is fallen from, like the very first book is like Genesis, right? They talk about Adam and Eve and how they ate the apple from the tree, and you know if you understand the world is fallen and there's evil in the world, then it kind of means like, you know, Jesus, well, God sent His Son. You know, that's what they teach in Christianity, that God came or sent His only Son to, you know, die for the sins of man, because there was nobody that was able to live up to God's standard. Because if the standard is God and that's perfection, and you know
Mhm.
you're not gonna reach it. So God came and suffered with men to die, so that they can live again in eternal life. And that's what brought me to my like faith in God. You know, like I went through my periods and stuff like that, but I mean, at the same time, nobody's perfect. And when you get those people that like point the finger, and it's just like, bro,
Mhm.
like look in yourself first. Even Jesus says it, like, look at yourself first. Take the stone out of your eye, or take the camel out of your eye before you take the little speck of dust that's in your brother's eye.
And that's why I like a lot of religions, like in the Bible or like, Buddhist people, like there's a lot of truth to what they're trying to teach people. Like to me, you don't have to believe what they are saying, like what they think, kind of like a fourth wall way, like there is a God, but they're teaching people like very good life lessons or very good lessons overall. But since they're in that religion or in that way, people don't want to believe them.
Right, right, and like there's a lot of right now. There's a lot of, I guess, religiosity would be the term. Like it's like it's probably another term, but it's kind of late. But it's like you're just religion is like following a strict set of rules, when you know true faith is like, you know, living, trying to be like the best person you can, and living like by faith that there might be a God and there's a way after this, you know. And it's like you wanna, like, even in general, like you want to be a good person. And you just, I mean, usually if you're like a sane person, I mean, if I feel like people just want to do good. I mean, there's also people that just want to do evil.
Hmm.
And it just gets to it where it's like, are you just doing that to just show that you're a good person? Like, are you just doing that to like make yourself, there's a term that's used in the Bible, like whitewash the outsides, but your insides are all fucking dirty? Like,
Or
are
you're
you
just
just doing that to
people.
show that you're a good person, but you're really a fucking scumbag? You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Instead of just doing it without even thinking about, like, hey, you know what, you need $1, here's $1. Here, you need $5, here's $5. Don't even tell me about it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even mention my name. Just go on about your
Hmm.
business. Or you want to be that person, oh, look at me, I'm donating $100,000 of my
Yeah.
hard-earned money to charity. You know what I mean?
I like that voice you used.
Yeah,
It's
there's some
silly.
people where they donate stuff just to get looks or just to make everybody look at them.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting how, how Christianity is so one way or the other, and it can't be interpreted a whole lot,
Mhm.
how God says, yeah, how you said, Mando, that, God created us in his image, and that, we're so fallen, you know what I mean? Uh,
Correct, correct.
and it's just really weird to like like if we're so fallen, why did you make us that way? Or why did you even make the apple in the first place? You know what
See,
I mean?
Right.
like,
Why would you
It
tempt
just
us?
that's my
yeah.
thing too. Is like, why would he
But
allow Lucifer to do all these certain things if God's almighty, all powerful? How did he let something like that slip up? And then it also comes down to why is you know Lucifer, Satan, punishing bad people? I mean, it makes sense the guy's evil, but why is he punishing the people that are doing stuff that he wants? Why is they like why like to me, I feel like if the afterlife is true and it's like heaven and hell, that it's kind of like Satan just has a full on up front. and like he acts like he's just torturing all these people, so Jesus or God just lets him live. And then when you actually get down there, it's just like a bunch of people doing drugs, beers, and just partying constantly.
Yeah, what if it's not what it seems to be? What is not if it's not what it's written to be?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a theory, and it might be really weird, and I don't think anyone has thought of it, but also, you just like honestly, when the Bible first came out,
Mhm.
God like it was written that God killed a whole lot more people than Satan did. Satan killed like what, 2 people? And God killed like cities of people just because there was
Oh shit, you're
prostitution.
right.
There was
He did send
prostitution
angels just to fuck with
and
people.
And he wiped
yeah,
out the whole
you know,
world once.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he did that whole Noah's Ark business, you know what I mean? Just and all that
Holy
stuff.
shit, you're right.
So what makes me think is that maybe Lucifer is this kind of similar being to God, and there was some kind of conflict between the two, and it was Lucifer who lost. So victors tell the story. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like
Oh my God.
how America is
Yeah.
with the Native Americans,
Mhm.
and just stuff like that.
Mm.
Like with the Native Americans, like you don't really hear a whole lot about their history, and we don't really.
Dead people can't talk.
It's not. Yeah, it's not really.
That's
God.
fucked up.
Not
That's
really.
real fucked up. I take that back, but I mean it's true.
I mean, it's very
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like as a country, you're not going to be like, oh yeah, we killed a whole civilization
yeah.
just to colonize this place. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Of course, a country's not going to do that. They're going to try and like, oh well, we were battling for our homeland, and
Mhm.
we were making a life here, and these people just ruined it, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's just like I feel like it's the same thing with God and Lucifer.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, if you look at it from the Bible's perspective,
It's kind of one story.
Satan was the one who basically gave, I think it was
Yeah.
Eve who bit the apple,
Yeah. It was.
free will and knowledge,
Oh
and
my God.
the power to decide for herself, kind of thing, whereas not to just listen to everything God says.
I mean, Mondo, he's right. I mean, we
I
can't
mean,
deny this shit.
No, yeah,
yeah,
the
I
knowledge
mean,
of good and evil.
I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm not saying that, I'm a Satanist or anything, because I don't really know what happened, but it's just a speculation, and I'm just like, well, you know, God did do a lot of terrible stuff,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying I understand the whole plan, but why would, why would you say Satan's evil and killed 2 people and gave, basically your creations what you didn't want them to have in the first place, which is free will, knowledge, blah, blah, blah. Of course you would hate that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
from, of course I'm looking at it from a human perspective, but like, you're not gonna just like put a whole lot of effort into creating something in your image just because. You know what I mean? You're
You
gonna
think it
have
was like a group project, and it was like him and like you, Lucifer, as a team, and then
it
God
could be.
kinda just took over, just pushed him to the side.
It could be. It could. I mean, of course, I don't. Who's gonna know this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, you're not gonna, because if we really were created in His image, you would have to make the logical assumption that our brains and our being is the same kind of way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just say, "Oh, well, I created it in in my image, and you're actually a 8-legged, 4-headed
Fucking
thing."
spider
You know
God.
what I mean? Yeah, you're not going to be an 8-headed, 4-armed, 4-head person. or
Yeah.
being and create a two-legged, two-armed and one head, creation that you just made and
Yeah.
say that was totally in my image. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So,
I guess it'd be depending what
and
they mean by it, in his image.
mm-hmm. And so it just you, you can't say that and have it totally interpreted. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
interpreted.
And
Yeah.
to me, like I feel like we fell so far away from God that, I feel like, we should have gotten some hint by now. Like he should have done something by now to like show us that he's still there, because like holy fuck, if there was like one sign from God and there was like this all healing prophet, because especially nowadays, like Jesus was only in the Middle East and everything was only really rumors. The people that were there usually only saw it. But like, let's say, there was this, all willing prophet, or like this new Jesus that came and he was healing people in front of our eyes and in front of television and just in front of the whole entire world. Because we have media now, it's going to travel so fast, and we're going to actually have like visual proof, like audio proof of, like a prophet or like somebody like Jesus doing this. And it would, you know bring, you know everybody back to whatever religion it this was from, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You don't think lollies
That's
are
Oh no,
a
lollies is
miracle?
not Lolly. I believe in Lolly. They will bring hope and peace to this
Is that
world.
not enough to get you to believe there's a God? Are you not entertained?
Well, I feel like that's enough on that, like little thing there, because we kind of went off on a huge tangent and kind of split into different things. Um, so what was our next
Oh, I just feel
thing
like
here?
I have to respond to that, but if you want to
Oh,
keep,
yeah, no, respond. But after you respond, we're probably gonna change the topic to get it going on this episode, where we talk about more than two things. You
well,
know what I
like,
mean?
I mean, yeah, but there was a lot there to respond to
Yeah,
every single fucking thing. But I would just leave what we first started with, which was like the Eve and the apple and the image of God. Like,
Mhm.
I guess I kind of already mentioned like what is meant by the image of God. I've heard like sermons and stuff, like pastors would say the image of God is like the like the being of like being able to like the being like the person, the thinking person, the intelligence and all
Mhm.
that. So going based off that, like we can say like, you know, maybe God did this wrong, did that wrong, and I would just say like if God was really like omnipotent and all this and knew beginning from end, knows everything,
Mhm.
like kind of like what's his name in the fucking Avengers movie,
Oh, the black guy,
the guy that controls time, what's his name with the ring,
oh,
the Infinity Stone.
Um,
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange.
Like, you think would God would like play out the whole thing, and this was like the way to do it?
Yeah, I
You
mean
might
that's what
think
he's
that.
doing in movies right now. Is Doctor Strange knew that he was gonna, kill everybody, so Doctor Strange didn't use any of his abilities and let them lose the fight. It's this huge little thing, but Doctor Strange is a smart guy and he knows what's gonna happen. Um,
Well, that's the thing that I'm getting at is like, what if like God played out all the scenarios, but having Eve eat from the apple was the only way to do
okay.
life with like how it is now. I mean, even though shit, you could say shit's pretty fucked up, but you know, there's still some cool shit here. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I would just think like there's I'll leave with this quote, which was this not verbatim, but this guy once said, "If you give me the power of God, like all His powers,
Mhm.
um, and you'd see me change a lot of like things and stuff. You know, you'd be start changing, making all these changes to the world. But if you give me His wisdom and insight, I'd probably leave it just the way it is." And that's like, it was kind of like a deep thing that I read a while ago, and I was just like, damn, it's kind of true. I mean,
It is true, yeah, definitely. Because I mean, if you change certain things or if you change anything, it's kind of gonna be like the butterfly effect. where everything changes. You changing one thing in Africa could cause Africa to become completely the super powerhouse of the world and drop everybody's income in other first world countries down to just way lower, and then Africa just becomes this huge big place where only people in Africa are rich.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Or so like I don't know. Like I see what you're saying there, and I cool idea or cool saying, I guess.
Yeah, and just one more thought, like
Hmm.
a lot of religious people too would like take a real strong stance against alcohol, drugs, and substance abuse, and yeah, in the Bible, it's not really too much. Like they kind of touch on drinks a lot more, but they don't. There's no place. Show me in the Bible where it says don't smoke weed, but
Yeah.
it does say don't. You want to be clear minded and like don't be influenced by other spirits, and
Mhm.
they call cigarettes sometimes spirits or weed, like you're getting the spirit of person, but it's like there's no, it's like you want to protect your temple, and that's what the emphasis is, in keeping the body clean, pure spirit, because it's like it's your temple for your spirit, you know what I mean? It's just a temporary holding spot. So like even Jesus, like as far as drinking, even Jesus drank, but
Yeah.
it's more of not getting drunk and being successful to other spirit, because God wants to be your, He wants to be in your mind, but when you're letting other spirits enter, He can't be like with you. You know what I mean? Like or He can, but He's not like, you're not really putting the focus on Him. You're putting the focus on the other spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
But it says eat, drink, be merry too. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's some people interpret it to the extreme. Like for example, one of our pastors, he doesn't agree with the whole stance that the church that your cousin goes to, because they take a strong stance against like alcohol and stuff like that. But the other pastor that left, he doesn't, he interprets it not a different way, but there's nothing that really says like, if Jesus drank, you can drink too. Like it's not like Jesus, if Jesus is the Son of God, like who are you to tell him not to drink? Like you're gonna get a pastor over there, hey, you can't drink, Jesus. That's not in your book. And it's like, show me where.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the guy turned water into wine.
Yeah, so it's like and it goes kind of into like the Buddhist teaching of like the balance, the yin and yang. You had to have like, you gotta have some peace in the chaos, and you gotta have a little chaos in your peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta be. This is like the balance of things. But those are just some thoughts.
All right. The next thing we were going to touch into something a little bit more touchier. We're going to talk about how,
More touchier than that.
if you're gay, trans, or whatever you are, you don't have to be part of like a LGBT community or like a GSA group.
Oh my God. Don't even get me started.
And I've had people in my life say to me, if you are gay or bi, you have to be part of LGBT community or part of the GSA club, which is I totally disagree with, because I just hate the people that are in those groups or
I
that are
agree.
part of those groups.
I agree.
I mean, you can elaborate more, but this is what we're going to be talking about now for a bit.
Yeah, I agree with that because, of course, as a gay person, um, you know, gay culture cares a whole lot about inclusiveness and being accepted, of course. What, who doesn't want to be accepted?
I know.
But I'm not an active member in anything like that. Just because those people are, yeah, I just don't really care about those kind of people.
There's your miracle, man.
It's just the type of people that they are. They need that kind of sense of, unity and acceptance,
Hmm.
and they don't get it anywhere else other than those clubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, to me, it might sound wrong, but like I grew up in a family where you know, you could get called a bitch,
Yeah,
and you could just be like, oh, you're fine, you know, or, you know, just you had to grow up with some kind of thick skin,
yeah,
you know, and I feel like nowadays a whole lot of people don't have thick skins anymore.
yeah. Because
Very
they treat their kids super, super, just pampered and
sheltered.
sheltered. Where if they go to school, and I feel like that's why there's a lot of school shootings now. I mean, this might sound bad, is just because you know eh, kids just need to learn not to be a fucking like this might sound bad, but like just not to be a fucking faggot and just man up a little,
Mm-hmm.
get thicker skin. I mean, it's when I play with you or talk to you, I usually call people gay, fags, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
affect you because
Mm-hmm.
you know that I'm not using it in the term to offend you or anything like that. I'm just using it as an insult. When I see something that I don't really like or whatever, I call it gay. And you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I feel like people should have that freedom. It's I totally agree with you on that part.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't really know people who are in the GSA and LGBTQ or
Mhm.
as whatever, you know, community because I'm not around those kind of people. And
AIPXYZ 123.
yeah, whatever the fuck, honestly. It's just like everyone wants to be part of basically this LGBT uh LGBT
Community.
movement, I
Mm.
should say. I don't really know
Like
what you
again,
really want to call it.
it's for show,
But
kind of.
yeah, but it's just like, you know,
Like you guys already like. I mean, not you, but like LGBT community is like they got marriage already. Like
Yeah, I feel like
what
like
else
I
is there
feel like
to
it is
to
now.
protest about?
Like it's kind of like the feminist movement where it was meaning something good, but now it's just a sexist movement. And I feel like
hmm
LGBT community now is just like they're part of it just so they're protected. They sit there and then they bitch
hmm
constantly. They're always in people's faces. You know, they use it as kind of like a little shield towards people that really don't agree with them or like not nice to them.
yeah, I would agree with that. It's just because that people in general, or I should say gay people and trans and all that stuff, haven't had a significant group or organization to back them up before.
And so,
So it's logical progression. You know what
mhm,
I mean? It's like gay people didn't have anything. They were shunned in society. They didn't have any gay marriage or any marriage in general. They had these domestic partnerships or whatever they were called. And now, they have this, you know, huge organization to back them up and supporting them. And they've never had that before. So, of course, they're going to, support and be with be a part of the LGBTQ organization because it's helped them get, all the rights and stuff like that they've gotten so far, or that I don't know why I'm saying they, that us, that, I have gotten so far, you know what I mean?
hmm
And sure, I'm grateful for it, and I think that, I should be able to marry any man, that I want to. And of course, I knew that it was going to happen eventually. Like, you can't just, you know what I mean? It was just going to happen one way or the other, kind of
uh,
thing. And it's just that these people think that it was never ever going to happen. And I'm just like, well, at some point, it would have just had to happen. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's not
hmm
like
It was like
people.
building up to it.
hmm Yeah, and it's just like, well, this is you know what I mean? It just seemed very. I don't even know what
Unexpected
just
almost.
the yeah, unexpected, and it's just like, I don't know. And all those kind of people are just, so involved and emotionally involved in this
yeah. they, I feel like they try to push it on you way too much. It's just, it's like it's just too much for me. I'm like, I get it, you're gay, you're trans, you're this, you're that, but I don't care. Like, personally, I don't give a shit if you are or not. So just leave me alone. But they just try to push it on you constantly, and I'm just like, what is your problem? Leave me alone.
Famous quote from that one movie: "Nigga, I don't know you."
Yeah, and it's just like people get so offended now because they're like, oh, well, we've been accepted here, there, and everything. And it's just like, we should be accepted everywhere. It's just like...
No, even I'm not accepted everywhere. Even straight people aren't accepted everywhere. Like,
you know what I mean? It's just like, calm down. You know what I mean? You really just need to hold your horses. It's fine. No one's really going to care whether or not you like dick. Okay?
unless you're sucking it in my front yard, then I'm like, whoa, you need to pay me for that shit. Like,
yeah, or something. I don't know. It's just the type of people, you know, the type of people, I want to say in high school, because I feel like adults could, you know, could handle themselves, but maybe I'm not so sure anymore now, but, you know what I mean? But like, especially in high school, all the people in my GSA were wallflowers. They were like the... you don't know what a wallflower is?
Snowflake?
No, I've never heard the term.
It's
just something pretty to look at?
No. No. No, they're just like basically kind of like social outcasts.
No.
You know what I mean? They're just kind of just, you know, either have their own little quirks that no one really understands other than just a few select people. You know what I mean? They're those kind of people who are just like socially weird compared to everyone else. You know what I mean? They
a lot of weird things about them that a lot of people just didn't understand or get to just not make them friends.
Yeah, kind of thing. And you know, just like I couldn't really say what was what their quirks and you know, attributes were as people, because I wasn't in the group, so I wouldn't know them. But you know, it's just like it's just like, what the fuck are you wearing? You know what I mean? Or what are you doing? And you're acting so strange. You know what I mean? And sure, of course, I didn't understand them as a person, and I didn't really care to know them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, honestly, I was a pretty popular kid in school. I was like, when everyone, when I was in like sophomore-ish, junior, and senior year, when a person said, oh, it's that gay guy, you know, they thought of me. You know what I mean? Like, I was that popular. You know what I mean? Like, even a lot of people knew me and liked me more than they did like the star quarterback or stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, even through the boys, you know, like the straight guys, that's what I call them, was the boys, you know. You know, the boys like me, and they're like, oh, Josh, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, I was not just like an all-girl gay boy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
you're
I just
the gay guy.
Yeah, by all means, I'm not socially awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you were awesome, Josh.
Yeah, I was fabulous. Like, come on, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I didn't need that. And yeah, it's just like the weird people who didn't really get accepted or weren't really accepted socially, normally, And that's what they use. You know, they use that GSA to find friends who were
Somewhat, you know.
quirky and weird like they were. And I'm
Mm.
not saying that's a bad thing to be quirky, weird, whatever. It's, you know, not like I give a shit. You know what I mean? I've only seen them a couple times. You know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
just like the president of the club was pressuring me to join. And I'm like, no, you guys are weird. And you know, I don't, and like I don't hang out, like I do not hang out. I would like to have a good time rather than just kind of sit there and like, you know, play on my Nintendo DS or
I miss.
basically, yeah, basically that's what they did. They just like talked about Pokemon
Mm.
and
So
stuff like that, and they were on
they
their
were like the nerdy
DSs and
type
stuff.
too.
Huh?
Were they the nerdy type too?
They were super nerdy.
Mm.
And don't get me wrong, I was very social, but I was also a hell of a nerd. Like in high school, I was a hardcore World of Warcraft player.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
then you were like a mega nerd if you played
Uh,
that
yeah, yeah. And I played, you know, I started getting into Magic, uh,
game.
into my late high school, like end of senior year, I started getting into Magic and stuff like that. So I could totally understand every person in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I understood as a person everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a skill not a whole lot of people have. It's only a select few people. You know what I mean? So I'm glad to have this kind of perspective. But
You understood
yeah,
everyone
it's
except those
just
weird fucks in the GSA.
yeah, but just seriously, it's just like, you know, and it's not like it was a bad thing to be part of the GSA,
Right, right.
but like as a gay person, you know, a lot of people, like the president, felt like you should be in it because you're gay. And I'm
Yeah,
like, hold off, bitch. I don't need a group
to
that's
be what
that.
I am.
Yeah, I don't need a group to be what I am and to be like accepted. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
I am a strong individual myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't need this. You know what I mean? I don't need
Yeah.
you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a lot of gay people don't really have that.
Yeah.
Don't have that kind of mindset, you know? And it's just really kind of
You think?
irritating.
Would you think you would have joined that group if it was like they're doing some cool shit around the school, like painting walls or like doing like dance performances or some shit, like something cool around the
Mm,
school or going around like having bake sales for whatever? Would you think you would have been
mm,
involved or?
probably not. I mean, I wasn't like a dance mom or anything doing big sales and musical productions. That was the one thing I wasn't into is was the whole theater group and band. But
Hmm.
but yeah, like if they just did something, you know what I mean? Like I get what you're saying, but if they just did something more than just like meet and you know, at lunch or after school, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Then sure, I might have considered it more, you know, about, you know, doing their you know, activities or whatever, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, probably then. But no, I did not want to be part of the social outcast group.
Oh fuck, going on them hard.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's really what it was. And, you know, a lot,
I
sure.
mean, that'll like to me. That's what my school's GSA club kind of looks like. Is they don't have. I mean, this might sound mean, but they just don't have cool enough members for it to be like a cool thing. You know,
Hmm.
like it's just like all like the nerdy, quirky kids. They're just kind of
Hmm.
like I'll talk to them and like I try to be a people's person. I don't like to judge people. I like to like talk to people. I like to be friends with everybody because I see no point of being a mean person. If somebody's mean to me, I'm gonna try my hardest to get them to like me because there's just really me, there's no really point to seeing, oh, he hates me, so I should make him an enemy. To me, it was like, oh, he hates me, I should probably, try to focus more on him. I should be more friends with him. But to me, like, they're just like odd kids, and I just can't really get like
Relate to that.
yeah, I can't really relate to them. They'd be like, oh, well, do you do this? I'm like, no, bro, but are you into this? Oh, no, but I like this quote unquote off brand of the same thing I just said. Oh, sorry, man, I don't agree with that. And then they're like, oh, and then we're just kind of
Yeah.
done.
And it's
Like,
yeah.
the fuck was this?
Sorry, I'm not down to paint my ass red.
You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's just like, people need some kind of support group.
Yeah.
If they're gonna get it through them, through that whole GSA thing, that's fine.
Mhm.
But I don't feel like every gay person or every trans person or any whatever the fuck you are needs to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Just because like either your friends, your family are supportive enough to do it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just like you sometimes, or just you as a person. Like I am an individual, a strong individual, like strong-willed, I should say. And I don't know. It would take a whole hell of a lot to make me mad or sad or whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I'm just that. So I didn't need any kind of support. I just needed myself. And a lot of gay people are weak-minded like that because they either been bullied or they've been accepted too too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like oh my
To the
god.
point where if somebody doesn't like
Mhm.
them because of their ideals or how they are, they get offended to a point where it's just like why the fuck are you mad?
Trigger
Mhm.
warning.
Yeah, exactly. They're the ones that are like, I'm triggered because he said he instead of she.
Mhm.
Like, well, you look like a he, bitch. I don't know what to say. What do you want me to do?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really probably the whole premise of what I had to say is that it's just a type of person really that either needs that kind of support group, because if you're like you have to be honest with yourself. If you're like a weak-willed person and you need a GSA, sure, that's fine. Own up to it. Like that's not like a bad thing. You know what I mean? Um, just as me as a person, I don't need that shit, and I don't feel I will ever want to be part of like the LGBT like community or like attend prides and stuff like that because it just as a person doesn't really appeal to me. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, us gay men should, you know, celebrate everything, we've earned basically.
Yeah.
And, that's, we should celebrate as who we are, but it's not, I'm not Joshua because I'm gay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Gay isn't
That's not your
my
identity.
whole soul of a personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure, it's a part of me, but it's not like, oh, I'm gay and that's the most interesting part about me. And that's like the only part about me ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then when you're part of the GSA clubs or the LGBT clubs, it just makes you feel like that's like the key part of your whole entire life when it's just like it shouldn't be.
You're still a person.
Yeah, exactly. And then, wow.
A
Thank you
human being.
for this talk.
And you
Yeah.
think the LGBT community was kind of like also like surprised that they got the gay marriage thing so fast, and they were just like, well, now what the fuck do we do? Well, let's bitch
Yeah,
about
and-
shit.
Yeah, and what's really weird is that, like I love drag queens. Like that I love drag queens and I love their art form. And, you know, that's like super gay of me, of course, because fuck, I'm pretty gay, but I'm not like, that's like not my whole personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I love drag queens, and they're saying about how, we got the gay marriage thing, and there's still a lot of work to do. And I really don't understand what they mean by that. Like, I might be ignorant and not understand the whole political climate of the United States. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm just like, what is what work do we have to do? As a quote unquote second class citizen. I don't think we're second class anymore now that we got marriage.
Yeah.
I don't see any kind of economic uh, um, disadvantages compared to straight people. I don't see any kind of like severely judgmental prejudice, as a society. Like, I'm not gonna be fired or not hired because I'm gay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think that has ever had to do with job qualities and job acceptances and stuff like that. I mean, like, from a business perspective, you're not gonna hire some flaming faggot, you know what I mean? To represent your company on a professional level.
Right.
Because most times, a gay person is gonna be like, well, everything's gonna be glitter and this and
Yeah.
that, and I'm gay, you know what I mean? Compared to, hi, my name is,
Robert.
Robert, and I represent, such and such.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it's just, I feel that a lot of gay people supply a very specific niche in jobs.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? As a type of people, as we are. You know what I mean? Like, we're very social, and we're very likable for the most part.
Mhm.
Just because we're so interesting, extravagant, whatever. You know what I mean? So that people naturally come like, wow, this guy's, is something. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you remember that. So people, gay people are typically in, like social media jobs, and stuff that's involving social
Yeah.
stuff. But you never hardly see it in business.
Yeah.
That's just because they're not. That's how they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and if
And
they
it's
are,
just,
they're not as flamboyant and out there.
yeah. If they are, they're not as flamboyant or whatever. They're more professional.
Yeah. They're more, kind of.
Yeah, they're more just like regular people.
Yeah.
A professional person. You know what I mean? Whereas like the gay people who goes to the gay bars and attends the LGBTQ or whatever it is, um, are more likely to be, hi, I love glitter and sparkles, and you do too. That's great. Let's have a kiki, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like, they're more like that compared to, someone who's a professional. And of course, businesses, I just, said this, but you know what I mean? It's just, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand, um, I don't really understand what kind of progress we need to do after that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know what the difference is of rights straight people have to gay people.
It's
You know,
pretty
it,
much
it
all the
might be
same.
something, I think it's probably something about like um adoption in kids in general.
Right,
I
right,
think
okay.
that's maybe what they're talking about,
You think they should
honestly.
have like an easier way to adopt kids, or an easier?
Well,
Just
adoption
easier.
agencies favor married couples that is one male, one female. They
Do
tend
they?
to
Yeah.
they tend to favor that.
Uh,
And I
See,
mean, but it's not saying that they wouldn't give it to a 2-man couple or a 2-girl couple. It's just they favor, I guess, like the married, like the 1 man 1 female people. They would get like first pick on things, or they get pick over that.
I honestly don't even know.
But
Like,
it's, it gets like out, because I know I think my aunt had like this gay friend that adopted,
mhm,
and they were like a gay couple.
mhm.
But other than that, but they'll even give it to single people. So it's like,
Yeah.
so
So
it's not really discrimination. It's probably just a
A
lot of
gay.
factors that go
mhm.
into adoption.
Uh,
Yeah, and I don't know. So I don't really know what the quote is. A lot more work to do. That's really confusing to me as a gay person. But then again, I'm not as old as these people are. You know what I mean?
Maybe they're
yeah.
like
So
promoting like the secret sex dungeon, and they're gonna do
maybe
this like work. I don't know.
yeah, I really don't know what it's about, you know? So I really don't know what that whole bit is about.
Because
Yeah.
I even think a lot of gay people do better than like just straight people. Because I mean, San Francisco, for example, is one of like the highest gay communities there, and
Mhm.
it's fucking expensive as hell to live there. So to
Mhm.
live there and to be gay, like you gotta be making some serious change to like just live there, like survive.
Yeah.
So I'd say a lot more gay people are better off. But just based on that example, I don't know.
I would say a higher percentage of wealthy gay people live there, and I want to say a lot of wealthy gay people live in LA too,
Hmm.
percentage wise. And I feel that um a lot of gay people who live in San Francisco, um I don't know, it's just it's kind of interesting, the gay community in San Francisco, because yeah, I just want to say uh, it's just so interesting, and the differences between gay communities down in Southern California um, versus Northern California and the San Francisco area.
Hmm.
So I think it's probably because that I don't even know why San Francisco has a lot of gays, but it's probably just because like that's where the gays originated from, was San Francisco and New York City. So like that's where all of them kind of joined up basically and supported each other kind of thing. So I don't know. It's just really interesting to see it all. Yeah. It's very interesting. But I wouldn't say that gay people are better off. I would say percentage. I would say gay people as a whole are better off than straight people, but not entirely. And I think that's true for any kind of thing you're saying, though. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Okay.
I don't know. But it's also weird because like a lot of younger gays are into partying, sex, this and that, and you know what I mean? They're like
Mhm.
hella into it compared to any other, any other person or any other
Group of people.
preference,
Oh, okay.
sexual
Sexual.
preference. Yeah, it's like us gays are the ones who walk in parties with ecstasy and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just so weird because it's like that kind of behavior isn't really from a successful standpoint. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
You don't try and have a good time at parties, you know, every week because, you have, a mansion and a yacht and nice cars. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know. It's
There's
just,
there's a
it's interesting.
there's a quote that goes, "Just because you're hung doesn't mean you have to do porn."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that.
Well, you don't have to necessarily do porn just because you're hung. I
If you have
mean,
a nice ass dick, you should be doing porn.
you should, but it doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. Like with the like just because you have a yacht, but like I guess you're saying gay men are like more prone to just go extreme, and I guess it would be because I mean I would postulate that is because they're men, and men sometimes they like to, especially the more dominant aggressive ones would like to like no they go by the term go big or go home, and
I
I think
guess.
maybe that might have some influence on you know just being the biggest baddest gay dude out there. You know what I mean?
I guess it's just the gay community in general is very hard to generalize, just because you have people like me who are basically the best of both worlds, or I should say, who inherited best of both worlds. You know,
Hmm.
having a man's strong body basically, and then um having a woman's intelligence. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I feel that women are superior in that kind of aspect compared to
As far
men.
as what like thinking in multiple ways and at once, or what do you
Yeah,
mean?
like just like
Or the thought
multi.
process?
Yeah, I just want to say like the thought process, the level of detail, um, just the insight
Hmm.
and intuition. I feel that a lot of women have intuition more so than men, and just a lot more ability within mental capacity.
Ah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Of course, not every woman is going to be better than a man, but like I feel that if women had as strong as a body physically as men, it would be more of a uh, matriarchal society than patriarchal society.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there
But
is. Oh, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say there is a study I read once. If I could, I'll probably throw it in here, but it basically just says just gay people are usually known to have on average to have a higher IQ than just
Mhm.
like a normal straight man, and they link it to like back in the medieval times, or when when gays weren't as accepted, like they would have to live like a double life, and that takes a lot of brain power to just like pretend to have
Mhm.
a wife and put that facade on and then go hang out with Harry,
Are you
at the
saying
nighttime.
like I I don't know. I feel like that's making it seem like gay is like passed down through genes, and so if you had a smart gay ancestor, you were just a smarter gay, or you're just smarter in general.
I feel like
Uh,
that's true though. I mean, it's not. It, you know, I don't honestly. I can't tell you what makes me gay. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I was just I I don't know. I don't really know how it happens. You know what I mean? But it's not like a decision.
I don't know.
You know
Dicks
what I mean?
are hot.
Huh?
I said I don't know. Dicks are just hot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like it's not a decision. It's not like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna decide that I like dick more than I like, vagina.
See, I don't know. For me, I feel like it's more of a choice for me. Like, and I'm not trying to like throw shade of what you're saying, but
Mhm.
to me, I feel like I have a choice to like dick or like pussy because I can do both. Does that make sense? And I wouldn't really give a shit. But with you, it just
Mhm.
seems like you just do not enjoy, pussy, and you just enjoy dick more.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'm just perfectly fine with either or.
Yeah, I don't really understand that whole perspective, just because I've never experienced it before. Just because, of course, I don't like pussy. You know what I mean? And I don't have any kind of desire to try it at
Hmm.
all. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's just not. It's like if you put up a naked woman's picture in front of me, my dick would not get hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, what's really funny though is because when I was younger, I watched straight porn because I didn't know there was gay porn. So when
Hmm.
I was first introduced to porn, I watched straight porn. And I always 100% was just looking at the guy fucking the woman. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I was that woman right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thought process. But
Wait,
yeah, it's just
wait. May I ask, when did you find gay porn though? Because I feel like the first thing, well, like when I was questioning myself about it, I was
hmm
like, all right, I'll just type in gay, and then just came up with the whole entire other site.
Well, what's really funny is because I didn't know that's what that was.
Ah.
Okay, I did not know what gay was until I was um 13. Yeah, I was like 13. And so basically the same year my friend showed me porn or introduced it to me. And I'm like, "Oh, cool, this is cool." And then later that year, my uncles
Yeah.
um they they're gay, of course. And they lived in a huge house, massive house, and they had these other roommates, I guess. Like, yeah, you would call them roommates. And one of the roommates' uh, partners came in, through the front door,
Mhm.
and they kissed, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I was like really surprised. I'm like, I had no idea Patrick was gay. No
Mhm.
idea. Zero idea. I had no idea because I've never seen it before. and, and I'm like, and so I told my uncle Brandon, and I'm like, oh my God, Patrick just kissed the guy. He's like, yeah, and I'm like, and he's like, yeah, that's because they're gay, and I'm like, that's what gay is, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, that's what me and what me and your uncle are too, gay, and I'm
Uh,
like, oh, so that's what gay is. And
I
I'm like, you know what? I'm gay too. And
you
and
feel
we
that?
and yeah, like I literally told them that night. I was like, you know what? If that's what that is, then that I'm that too. You know what I mean? I think those were almost exactly the words that I said. Um, yeah.
So like, would you
Crazy.
use gay as an insult or like gay as like a kind of a joking manner before
Hell
this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
See,
yeah.
and all right. Yeah. Okay. Sweet.
Oh yeah. You best believe. Okay. I use like, oh, that's fucking gay. You know what I mean? Because like I use it as an insult too,
Yeah.
because one, gay people in general, I feel okay, so I this is very interesting and complex, my thought process, going back to how I think like a woman, okay? So I think gay people in general are stronger and smarter as a people, as a group,
Mm.
than straight counterparts. Okay? But from that, I think I'm better and smarter than all of those retards doing drugs and partying and doing shit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking gay. Because one, gay people whine about everything and they
Mhm.
kill themselves over it. And I
Mhm.
find that so pathetic. So that's why I'm like, oh, that's fucking gay. You know, because it's a weakness. You know what I mean? It's like, are
Mhm.
you gonna really fucking kill yourself because you like dick or you like vagina? You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah, it's
come
not
on
worth
now.
it to die over.
You know what I mean? It's not really. If you're that weak, it's better just to not. You know, just it's better that you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we don't need that kind of person right now,
Hmm.
ever. um, but yeah, it's just. You know, so I use it as an insult all the time, and so does my boyfriend. You know, and I'm like, you know what? You're fucking gay. He's like, "Ah, you suck, not in the good way.
Is
You know what I
that
mean?
where you got
We
it
just,
from?
huh?
I said, is that where you got
Yeah,
it from?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
We just kind of like, you know, it's just, I
See,
don't know. You
and
know, like what I said earlier, like, you know, flaming faggot. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's just, yeah, it's very complex.
the,
My weird ass thought processy.
it's like the next level because it's like, you know, it's one thing to be called gay by somebody or a fag by somebody, but when a gay person says something's gay, that shit stings 100 times more.
Yeah.
I
It's like,
guess. I
gay
mean,
called me gay. I
yeah,
must really be gay.
It's like
yeah.
like somebody. It's like me and Joshua. If I were to get in an argument, it's like, dude, you're a faggot. It's like, no, you're a faggot, and then I'll be like, fuck, I can't top that because I just been called a faggot by a gay guy, and
See, Mondo, that's where you just call him a beaner.
uh,
That's true. That's true.
but yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, and it's great to hear it. I mean, for me, it's great to hear it from another like a person that identifies as like a gay person. But I know that's not your
Hmm.
full identity, but that's that's
Yeah.
part of you, and
Hmm.
it's like I guess people aren't exposed to that on a regular basis. That maybe a gay guy can have a difference of opinion from another gay person, like
Yeah.
because.
Yeah. I do all the time. Like my good friend, he lives in San Diego and he's really democratic. And you know, I would say he's a successful person. Um, he's a nurse
Mm-hmm. They
and
make good money.
he's really democratic. And you know, he's saying, "Oh, you know, Trump's bad and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Well, not really." You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why, because let me tell you, when the what was it? The 2016 elections?
16, yeah.
Yeah, 2016 elections were going on. I watched every Trump thing and every Hillary thing. You know, every video, every talk, every debate. Not once, not even one time, Trump talked shit on gay people. Never said anything wrong, said anything bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So I don't understand
Oh yeah, so he
where.
dissed.
Yeah, he didn't say anything about, you know, gay people.
Hmm.
He's you know, he just said, uh, maybe that's the bad thing he said. Didn't say anything about him or us. You know what I mean? And
Alone.
it's just like, when are you guys going to be pleased at
Hmm.
anything? You fucking kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, you're never ever going to be appeased, apparently.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, you know, and it's just like, the heck? I don't know. It's just, and you know, Trump hasn't been doing a bad job. Sure, he might sound retarded, but everything he's been doing has been pretty successful thus far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
for the
I don't know
country.
about you guys, but where I live, we're having a whole lot of people, a lot of people with money coming in, and so I'm seeing a lot more nicer cars, you know, just driving around
Mm.
compared to compared to the last 3 or 4 years, you know?
In Utah, it's kind of weird, is because we're getting a lot of people from California moving into here, and kind of like they're I've seen, and I've kind of saw a lot more people from California move to Utah and start to settle here. And I don't know if it's just because it's cheaper out here or what, but there's just been more people from California moving here, so it's kind of
Yeah.
changing Utah in a way where there's a lot more different people
Mhm.
in Utah, and I like it, but at the same time I kind of don't, because the people from California, there's a couple of them that try to be gangster, or try to be
Yeah.
like, like, oh, I'm cool because I'm a blood or I'm a crypt, when I'm like, dude, this is fucking Utah. Don't bring that shit here, because
Mm-hmm.
if you try to act like a gangster in Utah, you're a legit fucking bitch. Like, we're one of the nicest states ever.
Yeah.
It's
So
true.
But it's really funny though, because um a lot of people who have like all my friends, or I shouldn't say my friends, they're my parents' friends, and actually some of my friends moved out of state just because of how bad uh California is becoming. Because
Yeah.
it's becoming very democratic, and like a lot of our money and stuff is going to people who are just begging their whole lives and never working for anything.
mm,
And so, um, just stuff like that. And then just at how California is making their laws, like starting to remove, you know, securities and, uh, you know, uh, like gun control. They're really heavy about gun control,
Oh yeah.
and stuff like that. And it's just like, well, we're not going to be living here soon. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's not like we really care, because it's just getting worse
I,
from a successful American family. It is just getting worse with their policies that they're, pushing out, kind of thing.
oh yeah. Definitely.
Like,
And they ban straws.
They banned straws?
They ban straws in LA at least.
Why?
mhm.
Fuck if I know. But they
Well,
ban
okay,
straws.
so yeah, because it's LA, um, yeah, it's LA, San Francisco Bay Area, and New York City have like a higher have like the highest population percentage in America, I want to say.
I'd agree with
And
that.
so, yeah, well, because it's like, you know, of course, like New York City has a couple million people, whereas, states like Vermont,
Wait, am I
maybe,
hearing this right? They banned straws. 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 The stuff you drink out of.
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yeah.
What the?
Uh,
Why?
oh, and
Look
we have
into
to pay,
that shit is funny.
uh, they don't give paper bags anymore.
Oh man, I hated that shit. 10 cents a bag, baby.
Um, Yeah, it's 10 cents a bag, which isn't a whole lot. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not like it's very,
it's
it
not that
just.
bad. It's just like douchey. Just like, what the fuck? You're gonna charge me
I,
for a
I, I
bag?
wouldn't
These
say.
used to be free, asshole.
Yeah, but it's just like, they're trying to get revenue where they can. You know what I mean? And it's
Mm.
just.
I mean, in
Yeah.
the
But
sense of
straws?
environmental things, I get it. Like trying to
Mm-hmm.
reduce the waste, and then you get money to replace whatever that is. I get
Yeah.
that, but at the same time, it's kind of silly. But I mean, I'm not really for or against it. It's just kind of like,
Yeah. It's like, it's fine, because uh, California is one of the most heavily populated states in the US. You know what I mean? So
hmm
it's like, of course, you need to be stronger on environmental
Law.
um environmental stuff than most other states, you know what I mean? Just because there's a huge population.
because if 20 million people littered in a big state, it's not that bad as if 20 million people littered in a small city.
Yeah, that's yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just, the taxes and stuff that California takes out of, my parents' paychecks is just substantial.
It's big.
It's
I
yeah,
hear
it's
what's his name? They shunned him. What's that guy's name that came out in the Benchwarmers? The John Lovitz. He was like bitching about the taxes, and he came out like I think he got shunned from like Hollywood or something because of it. But basically, he was coming out saying like it's for lower taxes because he's like coming at Bernie Sanders like I already pay my fair share. Like well you guys don't take more like they pay. Oh, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your parents probably pay up like close to 40% or between 20 and 30 maybe. Of
it's a little higher than that, but yeah, it's
Gosh.
shit. Because there's
yeah,
also
it's
income
I mean,
tax and then property tax if they have any properties,
mhm,
Half
and
the
then
paycheck.
all that fucking thing.
there's so much taxes here. It's like, which I don't really understand, and honestly, I don't understand why people want to live in LA. Like, it's just such a shitty city. Like, coming from, San Diego, I much prefer
Oh man, it's beautiful.
San Diego and San Francisco than LA. LA is like just gross.
It
It
is.
is.
It
I
is.
heard it
It
smells
is.
like
It
piss.
hurt. It hurts me. Dude. My where I used to work at, like there was always bums around, and like the floor has like shit and gum. That's just like part of the floor. It's one with the
Mhm.
floor because it's just been there and it's just been stepped on for years and years, and there's
Yeah.
no you can't even power wash it out. It's
Oh
disgusting.
God.
Like you come out like it smells good in the little shop I was working at. You
Yeah.
come right out, you just like taste shit in your mouth. Like it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's and there's just like a haze. I mean, of course, a lot of cities will have,
The haze.
like pollution and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But it's just the city in general is just it's just so congested and gross, and it's so hot, and it's just like
Oh
it's
yeah.
kind of a makeshift city, I want to say. It's not very put together very well. You know what I mean? It is not a great city.
I think they just stacked the towers on top of like old ass buildings too.
Kind of, but also it's like because we toured around like Beverly Hills, Bel Air, stuff like that. And of course that's where like Hollywood stars live because that's where, their work is basically, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It makes sense that way, but like
Right.
why do people actively want to live there? Like, you know, my parents are, or I should say just us in general, are in a higher status than most people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it just does not make sense why you want to
Feel
live in such a shitty little part.
It's kind
Be-
of like a Supreme or a Gucci name. I feel like people want to live there just because it's, LA, just because it's a known city. So people just want to live there because, oh, well, this place is, LA. That's like buying like a Gucci or Supreme bag. I mean, they're not the best of quality. They're not even like good to like wear in a practical standpoint, but people want it because it's, you know, Gucci or Supreme. So people just, I feel like, want to live there because it's just LA.
I guess. I don't know. But like I was, we were doing the whole tour and everything. And like the houses, like sure they might be big and this, that, and the other thing, but oh my God, you couldn't even see them. You know what I mean? Like, and it makes sense because they're, they want to be secluded and stuff like that, and there's no security kind of thing. But like, just the area around Beverly Hills and stuff like that. It's like it's nice, and then it's not nice. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? There's no boundary or anything like that. You know what I mean? It goes from shitty ass city to kind of put together ish, Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
The fuck? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. As
That's the
someone,
fuck.
It's not safe.
yeah, and it's just like you do not get that in San Francisco. You know what I mean? Like in general, San Francisco is nice. People keep their houses and maintain their properties better, I want to say, than LA does. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
I would agree. And
It's just, ugh,
also,
I hate
like,
that city. Hate
it,
it.
it's not just even Beverly Hills and whatever's next to like West Hollywood or like
Yeah.
East LA
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
like even where I'm from, the San Fernando Valley, it'll be like in the same city, like North Hollywood or Sun Valley, for example, there'll be like the really really ghetto area, but then it'll go to like middle class, upper class, lower class, middle class, upper class, lower class, and it'll be that kind
Mm-hmm.
of pattern throughout the whole thing. And it's just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like you have like the projects next to like these like nice houses, like just built brand new houses, and then next to
Mm-hmm.
like the kind of old houses, but like more affordable houses, and it's just like where you just got everybody bunched up together, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like if a disaster were to happen, it we'd all be fucked because like I mean typically I'm not just trying to like out the poor people, but usually low income people have more tendency to do like crime, you know what I mean? And even me, like I was in a middle class kind of lower middle class kind of environment, and I
Mm-hmm.
was inclined to do dumb stupid criminal activity when I was young, and like it was kind of easy just to go walk up the street and probably jack something of value from a more well-to-do person. And if shit hit the fan and like everybody went out of power or there's a fire or some kind of catastrophe, like motherfuckers will run up in your house like without even thinking, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
then you have the fucking gun control thing, so how are fucking the people, law-abiding citizens, supposed to protect themselves with the stick? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Ugh. Ugh.
So there's that. But like that's why I liked Utah. I moved out here about 4 years ago. Fucking got a gun like within the first year. I was like, fuck this bullshit.
Utah's fucking white as shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, yeah, I hate it. Ugh, gross.
Yeah, if California had their like gun control a little bit more lax, like I'd be
I
inclined to
wouldn't.
live there long term. But other than that, like it's still. I probably, if I were more well to do, if I were rich, I'd probably get a property there just 'cause I want to eventually be in the entertainment business, and I think California is good for that, like entertainment, like music, comedy, or some kind of dance or whatever, some
Like
kind of
you want your main house or the house you stay at the most to be there.
Yeah, and that's what I
probably.
was thinking about too. Just purchasing a house uh, over, over here, I should say, because I really like the area that I live in currently, and then purchasing another house somewhere,
Yeah, well,
where I would actually like to live, my main residence.
Hmm.
the area code you live in actually is really like I think I'd prefer, even though they still got their crime and stuff, but like Riverside area is pretty much. They got the outlet malls there, so I don't know. I was a big fan of the outlet malls when I was little because I like to travel and I like to see
Mhm.
new places. And they got the big ass fucking like outlet malls, and it's like, ooh, it's so cool. And, it's you're getting
Yeah.
the same shit but cheaper, and it's like,
Mhm.
and then it's a nicer. It looks nicer than California where everything's just. I mean, California, Los Angeles where everything's just bunched up,
Mhm.
and it seems
Yeah, I
like
just.
you got more room out there to breathe.
Yeah, we do. We're more of a small town kind of feel, kind of like San Diego.
Yeah, yeah. So man, it's expensive there, but San Diego is beautiful, man.
Mm-hmm.
Beaches are cleaner.
Yeah, I'd say that.
The air is more breathable, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true there.
And like for example, like if I were to have my main house, I'd probably have it maybe Texas, but I don't know because there's like tornadoes and hurricanes and shit. So maybe I just
Yeah,
have my
but
main house in Utah, or but I definitely have a house in California just in case like if I had it like that, you know, I'd be in California when I needed to be, and then like bugging out when I had to, you know, for the majority of the time. Maybe Colorado, cause
For me, I would. This is just me. If I was that rich, I would get my own land, kind of like a foresty area, somewhere very secluded. I would make sure I have like running water, power, and internet, and I would just have that as my main house, just fucking out there,
yeah,
okay.
that's what I'm gonna do.
just like, 'cause, you know, I enjoy people, but I only enjoy people to a point where I'm just like, I don't want to be fucking near you at all. So,
Yeah.
And if I had it like that, I'd probably get a place in Australia too, just
oh, fuck,
because for the fuck of it.
cool.
Cause I've
Wait,
always
doesn't Australia have like a high percentage of gay people though?
I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure. I don't know.
Like it's half. Here, search it up real quick, then, Mundo.
They're just Australian. They can be confused as gay. The Australians are very friendly, actually. Like they'll come up to you and have a conversation, like kind of like Utah. Like Utah, they got a. Let me see, Australia's. What would I look up? Australia's gay population.
Yeah, Australia's gay population.
It's probably like like 2%. Oh my
Australia,
gosh.
the then largest and most thorough survey in Australia, was conducted by a telephone interview. Are those accurate? With 19,307 respondents between the ages of 16 and 59 in 2001 and 2002. The study found that 97.4% of men identified as heterosexual. Okay,
97%?
that's heterosexual.
Oh,
So
okay. I was like, holy shit.
1.6. I don't know, I was about to say, damn man, you're right, but it says 1.6 identified as homosexual, and
Oh,
0.9% as bisexual, according to the demographics. Or let's see, it's Wikipedia.
hmm.
According to what website though?
I must have heard wrong then.
But that was in 2000 and this is old study, 2001, 2002. Let's try to find a more recent one. Yeah, all the articles are citing that particular study. Hold on, let me see. Here's a different one.
Did you fucking just?
Like it, bitch.
I forgot you guys are playing Civ.
We are. Did you just freaking build Pantheon right now?
Yeah.
You.
You don't know, like, you don't understand how, like, oof, you're about to be butt fucked hard. But, yeah, so I thought it was more than that. I guess I heard wrong.
No, look, it looks like okay. I'm reading this other study.
Hmm.
2016, 14. So according to this, what is this? Excuse me. The abs.gov.au. I guess Australia's government Bureau of Statistics or whatever. A 39% increase since 2011, which counted 46,800 same-sex couples living together in Australia.
Hmm.
So that's a 39% increase from 2011. So that was 2 years ago. So yeah, it looks like it's a lot more than it was in 2001.
Interesting.
But this goes into same-sex couples. It's not.
Just
It's
gay
not counting
people.
gay people. It's just the couples.
So, gay and lesbians.
Uh-huh. It actually says Darlinghurst is where they have the most male same-sex
Where?
couples. Darlinghurst, I guess it's a
fuck
town
is
in
that?
there.
Oh. I'm like, is that a country? Because I've never heard of that
What's
before.
NSW?
Hmm.
New South Wales has 37.8%. I have to go through this thoroughly, but well, it's a lot more than 20 years ago, so you might be onto something there, man.
Maybe.
Sweet. So I was semi-right then.
Yeah. There's a lot of fucking faggots there.
I'm offended. Just kidding.
I can't believe you would say that.
Dude, this podcast is so offensive. Like,
I mean,
we're not even gonna get a break on YouTube because this is so fucking horrendous
I don't give a shit.
and
Hopefully,
so
it gets,
triggering.
honestly, I like. Hopefully, it gets some publicity and everybody just starts fucking talking about how offensive we are. Like, I wouldn't give a fuck if I got hate.
Yeah, me
Like,
neither. Like, I'd love it. I'd welcome it.
yeah, honestly, like Josh being here shows like the people that will get mad at us that we're not homophobic. We're not
Yeah.
you know we don't believe in a certain way. We believe in what we believe in. We have certain ideals because of a certain way, and him being here just proves that. Like Josh, like I would say is like I love him. Like he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
So hopefully they understand that. Don't.
Well, I mean, if
Yeah,
they
it
try to
just-
use that Islamophobic, homophobic, bigotry rhetoric on us, this is like kind of gets thrown in their face. Like, hey, there's a gay guy here.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think that gays in general are democratic, and so they think that everyone's democratic and is so, like, easily to be offended, but it's just really the type of person that gets easily offended.
Yeah.
It's not just, it's not the gays that are being offended. It might be something to do with you. It's not a bad thing, but, hey. Different strokes for different folks, as my boyfriend always says.
Okay.
That could be taken in a sexual way, but
I
I get what he means.
I think that's the joke because it's like a sexual thing.
Well, it could also be about, swimming.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think everybody's a big swimmer though, Mondo. Especially my people. We're not the best of swimmers.
Just fucking flap your arms in the water, hope you stay up.
Dude, I can only doggy paddle. Like, I have to try extra hard to actually swim. Like, that's just it. Like, I can try to swim, but I'm not the best at it.
It's alright. As long as you can float, you'll be alright.
What the?
But I think it's time to wrap up this podcast. It's been going on for quite some time.
How long have we been going on for?
It's 5:56, and it doesn't show. Oh no, it does show 2 hours and 12 minutes. Fellas.
Wow,
Huh.
the longest we've done this for.
This is
I like
crazy.
how
Hashtag new record.
me and Mommy have been playing this game for 2 hours then, and we're only on 92 turns.
I'm so pissed. How are you making all these fucking
Because I only focus on production. My science is horrible, but I have so much production where I can legit just build a monument or a wonder, like 10 turns.
I hate you.
I thank you.
Because I'm basically I can't even right now.
Build
But
up.
thanks for joining us, Josh. Wait,
You're
have you,
welcome.
Lando?
Yeah, well, any last thoughts?
Oh, well, no, I was just gonna say thanks for, joining us, Josh. And this has been Taco Talk. That's all I was gonna say.
All right, this has been Taco Talk.
Yeah.
We gotta add some sound effects.
Cut that out.
Yeah.